Alright my friends, so it's time for us to talk about conditional rendering and why it's a benefit for us to use something like this. Now up to this point our code depends on some values, right? So if we go back to the course list, here we are assuming that the course list will be always has some information, right? But this is not the case. For example, if we go back to the courses.json, I'm gonna select all these objects. All right, I'm gonna select all these objects and I'm gonna cut them, right? So take them out of our array. If we go to the web browser, you will see nothing being printed to the user. Now this is not what we want, okay, because we want to tell our user some message like, hey, for example, no items found, you have to do something or whatsoever. Okay, we can tell them something. So that's why where conditional rendering come into play. Let's say here inside my course list, here before I return something, okay, I'm gonna cut this thing and also I'm gonna delete these lines. I do not need them anymore. So here first of all I have to check for the courses if there are any items or not. So I'm gonna use the if. We have talked about this previously. So if courses.length like this, if the length is equal to 0, then that means we do not have any items. The array is empty. So I'm gonna return a div, right, has a class name, for example, no items, let's say, right, no items like this. Okay, and I'm just gonna say no items found, right? And otherwise I'm gonna return my array back. Very simple. So we are just checking for the length of our array. It's equal to 0, then we do not have any items, the array is empty. Otherwise, if the array is not empty, then we are going to map through our items and return them to the user. Here I'm just gonna go ahead and style our no items found div so we can get better user interface. So inside my course list, I'm just gonna type, let's say no items, I believe the name was no items. First of all, I'm just gonna change the color to be red, maybe. It's not an error, but we are just gonna make it red. I'm gonna increase the font size to be 2 rem. I'm gonna say text align to be center, as well as I'm just gonna maybe add margin. Let's say margin from the top and bottom. Let's go ahead and say 3 rem and 0 from the left and right. Switching back to the web browser, of course, we have to make our array empty first. Switching back, we can see no items found, but our class is not working. Let me see. So no items. All right, not items. Here it's no items. I just have misspelled my class name. So no items, and here no items. Switching back, we can see no items found. Very cool. If I get my array back, all right, let me just paste it. Switching back, we can see our items. So this is the idea behind conditional rendering. So we are checking for something before we render our view. Very cool. Another thing that we can do right here, it is to go ahead and add this property is hot, or the course, if it's feature or not. So here inside my course item, here after the price and all kind of stuff, I'm gonna add a span, all right, and it has the class name. Let's leave the class now empty, or let's say course status. I can not choose the names. Course status, okay. And here I'm just gonna say dynamic value. Okay, that will be, we are gonna check for course dot is hot, which is the name of the property. If this is true, if this property right here, let me minimize this thing right here. We are checking for this property is hot. If it's true, then we are going to use the ternary operator to return, let's say, I'm gonna return maybe a div, or let's leave it, I'm gonna return a text. I'm just gonna say hot, all right. Otherwise, we are going to return null because we do not to show anything to the user. So that's how we are gonna do it. Switching back to our code, we can see this one is hot, this one is hot, this one is not. this one is hot, and this one is not. So our code working perfectly. The only part is missing, it is the style. So the class was course status. I'm gonna copy it, going back to course item here on the bottom. I'm gonna paste it. First of all, I'm gonna decrease the font size to 1 rem. I'm gonna say the color should be white. Okay, we can see it. The background color should be red or not red. And let me just see the color picker. I haven't prepared any colors. How about this one? And now I'm just gonna position it all the way to the top, here to the top right corner, and I am gonna use position to be absolute, top to be 0, and right to be 0, and I'm gonna make these values relevant to its parent, and the parent already has the position relevant, so our code should work just fine. And we have it right here on the top right corner. Right. Now I'm just gonna add some padding so I can see my stuff, but we are gonna see a problem and we are gonna fix it as well. So here in the course status, I'm just gonna add padding. Padding from all sides. Let's say 0.6 rem, right? Or 0.4 from the top and bottom, and 0.7 from the left and right. Let's go back and we can see we have our hot property. Very cool. Now the problem right here, we can see here on the top right corner, we can see the padding being applied. This is not what we want. All right, and in order for us to fix this problem, I'm gonna show you another solution. Here we are getting this padding because even the course status class will be applied whether the course is hot or not. Okay, it will be applied to the span. Okay, so that's why we are getting these empty spaces right here. Okay, now in order for us to fix this problem, what we have to do, we have to tell it or apply a dynamic class. So here I'm gonna cut my class, remove this stuff. I'm gonna apply a dynamic class. I'm gonna check for course dot is hot. If this is property is it true, okay, then what I want to do, I want the class to be is hot. Sorry, the course will be course status. Otherwise, I'm gonna set, for example, an empty class, let's say, and if we go back, we can see our code work just fine. We have got rid, or we have removed these empty spaces that been added to our course. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, our code working just fine. We have added a dynamic class. Instead of using one class, we can check if some property is true or false. We can apply our class depend on that. And in order for us to make sure that our code is working pretty cool here, I'm gonna make all of these true. So this one true, and the last one also true. So let's see if our code work. Yeah, indeed we are getting all these hot courses. However, I'm gonna say this one false and the first one as well. So let's see here if our work. So the first one and the last one, yeah, our code worked just fine. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I think we got the exact same result that we have right here. The last thing that maybe we want to do, we can see how we can, let's say, change these images, how we can make them a bit, we can change the opacity so we can see this mark right here, because it is really hard for me to see that this course is hot or not. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, this is our video. Hopefully that makes sense. We have talked a lot about conditional rendering. It is really about checking for something, and depend on our validation, we can do something. Thank you, my friends, so much for watching. See you in the next one.